Hello and welcome back to Letter with ABC, a series on hand lettering. Today's episode is going to be for the fourth and last font style, which is decorative lettering. Make sure to keep watching to know more about this very interesting font style.
So this font style, it actually speaks for itself. Decorative fonts are embellished in nature and commonly used for a specific display purpose. These styles vary in terms of color, font style. It can actually be a derivation or combination of serif, sans serif, and script styles and design. Here I'm just showing some basic ways on how to make your letters decorative. So I like to start off, you'll see that these are just really rough sketches, but I started off with the serif letter A, and then I added a thicker area at the side where I added these stripes. And what I like about decorative letters in general is they tend to become more radical in terms of the design, and you can go as crazy as you want. This is just a very basic way on how you can elevate your letters, but apart from the stripes, you can always add different elements like dots, Victorian style patterns, doodles, or even an illustration within the letter form. So this is a very simple decorative serif style which I am showing you. Here I'm showing you a quick demo using the sans serif font style. So I'm just starting with a uppercase letter B, and after that I am going to go ahead and add some thick areas. I always like to start adding with the thick elements because this helps create more space for you to actually decorate your letters. That's why it's called decorative font. And what I like about it is you can start by drawing it, connecting different elements, and apart from drawing the insides of the letter forms, you can always go ahead and draw the outsides. I like doing this in order to complement both areas and make the letter really stand out. Now, when it comes to decorative fonts, you can opt to use it for a word or a drop cap. If you're not familiar with drop caps, they are the storybook letters that you see when you see like once upon a time, the first letter in a paragraph in a storybook in the olden times. Drop caps were used, and all of them really decorative in nature. So I would say a lot of the inspiration behind decorative fonts, or personally my inspiration for decorative fonts, come from that. This kind of a similar take on it, and I like how it can go above and beyond basically, and you can just go creative, get creative, and try out different techniques. Here I am going to show you how I add some floral embellishments to my cursive / script letter C. I always like adding these floral elements even if I don't really know how to draw florals. I just try to create an impression of it. I guess it's just also because I don't want to take away too much attention from the actual letter form. You want to make sure that while you're adding decorative elements and sprucing up your letters basically, is that you're still keeping the nature of the letter form, you're still keeping the shape, you're still keeping the whole area as to where the eye is focused on, which is the actual letter form. The whole idea of just adding embellishment really is more to enhance the letter form and not really to overpower it. So there has to be a proper balance there. Now for this episode, I'm going to make it a little bit more different this time. I want you to create your own A to Z. I'm showing you some more techniques that you can try. What I like to do with decorative letters is just, again, experiment and try different ways on how I can spruce up each letter form. So here I have created a block letter D, a cursive E, a serif letter F with a very distinct serif I've noticed. So I guess it's a slab serif, and also a block letter G in a very Art Deco 1920s font style. And this is a great exercise because you just start off with very simple letters and you can just enhance them by adding shadows, embellishments, dropouts, inlines, outlines, or whatever your heart desires. In terms of inspiration for decorative fonts, you can go wild with a lot of different references and ideas. For example, if you're feeling very magical, you can opt to go for a Harry Potter themed alphabet. You can also try anything that's very fantasy or whimsical, something nature inspired. I tend to lean towards drawing a lot of nature themed elements, which you will see in the exercise later on. And you can also get creative and insert a lot of different elements, patterns, and it helps you also look closer because each letter form has different qualities, and it's through these qualities you'll be able to apply how the font styles are, replicated per se, especially if you're going to do like an A to Z of a similar decorative font style. I try to do an A to Z of different font styles. I like doing it this way because it's easier for me also to reflect on different ideas that I can play along with. For the letter F here, you'll see that I sort of went along with this triangular aspect, so it kind of is a bit more geometric, but also like reminds me of jesters and clowns with this pattern going on here, very carnival style. So I guess that's what I was going for. Sometimes you don't really actually have to plan it, you just see how your hand just moves along with the letter form and you're just like, oh, this is a very cool idea, I guess I could work with it. We always like to keep things spontaneous because I think the rigidity, is that a word? I find that lettering, when I do lettering, I feel so rigid and controlling that the only way I can let loose is actually think of different ideas and really come up with different ways to make my letters look more different or make it, a simple change. As I always say, a simple change makes a lot of difference. Here I'm doing a series of letters with the same style, just so you can see the variations of patterns and ideas that you can work with. So I am doing PQRS. I guess I've been doing ABCs for a very frequent time, so might as well dive into the other letters. So you will see here I just opted for a very simple sans serif font with a thick area per letter. You will see that each letter has different areas where I thinted it. For P and R it's the same, for Q it's both sides, and for S it's in the middle part. So here I am starting off with very simple decorative elements such as dots, chevrons, shading, and swirls. I think this is the easiest way that you can dive into a lot of patterns. My advice for you, if you're interested to add more patterns to your letter forms, is to look at a lot of wallpapers, and you can also research on ideas in terms of textile design. I think it would be really great also because you'll be able to see how the colors work. I will talk more about colors eventually when we move forward, but for now I really want you guys to just focus on the letter forms. Here I'm doing a very basic stripe element. I mean, it's the easiest I could go. This one on the S, it's actually, I don't know what I call this, but it's actually one of my favorites. I just draw a dot and like two shapes that look like fishes, and it kind of resembles the Q and has this Victorian style feel to it. But what's great about this is, apart from the sans serif, you can turn it into actual serif fonts like what I'm doing, or adding a bold terminal like what I'm doing with the R. You can also thicken the other side just so it seems more balanced. Again, it has a lot of iterations, and the best that you can do is work around these and really experiment on different ways that you can make it your own. Now let's proceed to the exercise. So I'm starting off by using my brush pen to letter and trace over the letter A. This is what I was saying about the drop cap inspiration. You will see that instead of me embellishing the letter form, I'm embellishing outside of it. So it is like a framed version and there are borders surrounding my letter A. I just decided to go for a very simple like rendition of different swirls here to complement the loop that is on the actual letter form, the actual A. And I'm using another pen to sort of just highlight different areas. I did figure out that this pen was actually too thin. I like using brush pens a lot because it's easier to just manipulate the thin and thick strokes, and it's easier to work alongside all the thick strokes that you can see. So for letter B, I just kept it simple, and I guess this is also a way for you to trace over shadows and see where it lies. For here, it is So the light source on the right side, upper right actually, that's why you see that the shadow is on the lower left. So this takes a while, but I will definitely do mini tutorials on how you can do shadows. One way you can also check is by using Photoshop and doing a lot of different iterations to see how you can create a very believable and 3D like shadow like this one. Lastly, I wanted to play around with more colors here, but as you will see that the color payoff is not really as nice because we have a gray tracing area here, and that is perfectly fine. Also, this paper is not generally the best for brush pens. I'm just using regular office paper, that's why you will see that they sort of overlap. But I wanted to do something that made use of different colors in order to make it a bit more dynamic. So here I am using some blues, some yellows, and a bit of this like turquoise colors to sort of round up the whole piece and make it look more dynamic. So this is a very simple way of how you can do decorative letters by adding an extra layer inside the letter form and creating patterns inside and both outside for it to have some sort of leveling and different elements that you can blend together. And when you look at it as a whole, it makes it look more, I keep saying this word, but it does look more dynamic and has more character that way. So that's it for this really quick tutorial on how to do decorative letters. If you have more questions, leave them down below.
Thanks for watching this video, and make sure to download the Letter with ABC workbook to guide you on your hand lettering journey throughout the episodes. If you want to learn more about lettering, I actually wrote and illustrate a lot of books about it, so I will share it here. So first off, you have the ABCs of hand lettering. This is the basic guide you need to get started into hand lettering. You also have the lettering workbook, which is available in the Philippines, and I also have some available in the US. I will link it down below also for your reference. This is a self-published workbook. Apart from this, I also have this book called Hand Lettering A to Z, which is how you can create different font styles and different techniques with your hand lettering. This has been translated into 9 languages and is available worldwide, as well as the Hand Lettering A to Z workbook, which is an accompaniment to this book, and it's great to work with together. Lastly, if you'd like to get into more of hand lettering and calligraphy, I suggest picking up a copy of the Complete Photo Guide to Hand Lettering Calligraphy, also available worldwide, mostly in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Book Depository, and all the respective links. I will make sure to put them down below for your reference. See you guys on the next video. Bye!